I'm going to attempt my first ever mukbang. I want to try more food content here on my channel, and I thought Chick-fil-A would be a good one, mainly because I got a coupon for a free sandwich, and then I had enough points for the fries, so I only had to pay for the tenders. So it wasn't too pricey for me. And for those of you who don't know, my first ever paying job was at a Chick-fil-A. So I thought it would be fun to talk about my experience working there at Chick-fil-A. So I was 19. Nope, I was not 19. I was, I think, 16 years old. I was a junior in high school when I was working at Chick-fil-A. So the year was 2014. And I got the job like while I was in school. So this is like April of 2014. So like finishing up with my junior year of high school. And I don't remember the actual titles and stuff, but you know, there was like a general manager, and then there was like the owner. I think they're called like the director, something like that. For the sake of this story, I'm gonna use their actual names because it's been so long. The manager, his name was Lance, and then the owner, her name is Ellie. And when I interviewed, I interviewed like in person at the restaurant, and in 2014, the minimum wage in Virginia was $7.25. Let me take a bite of this real quick. It used to be a lot crispier back then. Still pretty good. As I was saying, minimum wage in Virginia was $7.25. In my interview, the manager, Lance, he asked me, oh, you know, for your pay is, you know, I know the minimum wage is $7.25, but how does $8 sound? And I'm like, well, that sounds great, Lance. So I was getting paid $8 an hour, and this wasn't like a full-time thing, you know, since I was still in high school. I was just working part-time. During my interview, Lance asked me, do I plan to work like my senior year of high school? And at the time, I told him, I'm not so sure yet. I don't know. Because I genuinely was considering working my senior year of high school as well. It just wasn't like a definite yes. So I just said maybe. And that's important for later in the story. But yeah, I mean, I was working mainly like I was working like 4 days a week. I would do the late afternoon / evening shift. So I would get in at like 3-4 o'clock, and then, you know, Chick-fil-A closes at 10, but by the time it takes to clean up and everything, I wouldn't leave until around like 10:45. So a lot of the Chick-fil-A's, at least in my area, there's usually 2 drive-through lanes, and sometimes there are workers outside taking your order. Back then, it was not like that. The Chick-fil-A I worked at, there was only 1 drive-through, and nobody was working outside. So like there's only like one person on the headset taking your order. So for me, I was either working the drive-through, working the window where like you take the payment and hand the food, or I was working the front counter. And again, this is 2014, so there wasn't like DoorDash, there wasn't, I don't think Chick-fil-A had an app back then, so like you couldn't do like the online orders and things like that. That wasn't a thing yet. But I would get in at 4 o'clock and it would be pretty empty. Like, no one really comes in to eat at that hour. And, if you work at least, I think it's like at least a 5-6 hour shift, you get a free meal. So you get like a sandwich and fries, or you can get a salad. And when you work at Chick-fil-A, if you're there 4 days a week and if you're eating that every day, like you get tired of it really quickly. And so what would happen a lot is, at least in the beginning, like if I come in at 4 o'clock, usually it's a very like dead hour. So my supervisor, he would tell me like, oh, like, yeah, you can go on your break now. Because we get like one break and that's when like you eat your food. But he'll tell me to go on break at like 4 o'clock. And like, I'm not hungry, and like, I'm not really hungry. So, some days I just wouldn't eat any food. I don't remember if I showed the food to the camera, but I'm starving right now. Again, this is my first mukbang, so I don't really know what I'm doing. One time I had to wear the cow costume, and I had to put on the suit. It's like a onesie suit. Well, not a onesie, but it's a big suit, and it smelled awful. And I had to walk around taking pictures with the kids. And you can't talk when you're in the suits. All you can do is like say moo. So I was just like, moo, moo. Thankfully, I only had to do that once. So at the end of the summer of 2014, I knew that I was not going to be like returning like once I start my senior year of high school, because at the time I wanted to focus more on like just like my college applications and getting that submitted. So towards the end of my time there, I submitted my 2 weeks. I emailed my manager, Lance, saying like, hey, like, I decided that I'm gonna stop working once the school year starts back up. And Lance, he emails me back saying like, I thought we had like a mutual agreement that you would work here during the school year. So the next time I go into work, Lance talks to me in person, and he's like, Brandon, like you said you would work here during the school year. And I told him like I never said that. And this like pisses him off, and he tells me, Brandon, you are a liar. You lied to me, and because of that, if you quit right now, you will not be allowed to work here ever again. And if you apply to any other Chick-fil-A in the area, I will call their boss and tell them not to hire you because you are a liar. So, okay, I understand, like, there are people that I worked with at Chick-fil-A that were really, really dedicated, and they really wanted to, like, move up and, like, be in, like, a manager level. And I totally respect that. Me personally, it wasn't for me. I honestly just saw it as like a summer job where I can like make some money. That was really like my intention. And so And he was like, yeah, I really want you to think about this, Brandon. Like, I really want you to think about this. And I like thought about it. I didn't think about it. The next day, I talked to the owner. Her name is Ellie. And I tell her like, yeah, like, you know, I'm going to be quitting. And she gets pissed off with me. And she's like, oh my God, like now we have to like spend more money to hire somebody and to train them, the amount of time and money it takes to train somebody, you're screwing us up. And I'm like, well, that's just how it works. Like, she's seriously getting this pissed off with me. Like, I don't know. And the reason why I'm using their names, their actual names, is because the whole situation was toxic, and you know, they should be held accountable because they were just terrible managers. They were terrible people. So, you know, I'm not afraid to use their real names. And plus, this is over 10 years ago. So what the heck are they going to do about it? Besides the two toxic, the manager and the owner being toxic, like everybody else was really nice to me. You know, the supervisors were nice. The other, we call them team members. They were all cool people. So yeah, that was my experience working at Chick-fil-A. I was more appreciative of just my life in general. And again, I think everybody should experiencing, and I do think that everybody should experience working in retail, working at a restaurant, working some sort of service job, because you will just be so much more appreciative of everything in your life. I still have a tender and all of my fries left, but I'm gonna stop the video here because honestly, I did not like having to eat my food with this camera in front of me. But yeah, I wanted to try making a mukbang, and I don't know if it's for me. I don't know if I'm ever gonna do this kind of video again, but I don't know. Hope you enjoyed watching.